Hey there, it's Paul Mark. Welcome back to my kitchen and continue an episode of How to Become a Coffee Connoisseur. Today we're going to do the French press. It's probably one of the easiest ways to brew coffee at home and to do it well. All you need obviously is a press pot, a scale, a kettle, some water, some great coffee, a spoon, a timer, and you're good to go. Just really quickly, I want to talk a little bit. I've already ground the coffee. I want to talk a little bit about that. The grind size of coffee needs to be proportionate to the amount of contact time there is with water. So obviously, this is an immersion process. We're going to be steeping this coffee for 4 minutes in this pot. And so as a result of that, the coffee needs to be ground very coarsely, actually. And so I'm grinding on a Virtuoso, a BARATZA Virtuoso. And the grind setting we're using today is somewhere between a 32 and a 34 on the dial. Every grinder is slightly different, but suffice it to say, the best that I had in my kitchen that we could sort of compare this to today in terms of particle size was comparing it to a fleur de sel. So it's a very coarse ground. You got to be able to feel it, see the chunks, and that's simply because obviously the coffee is going to be in contact with water for a long period of time. The other thing you have to be mindful about when you're brewing by immersion method versus drip, like we did last time with the Technivorm, is that in order to avoid over extraction, you've got to updose a little bit. And there's a lot of science behind this in terms of extraction yields and total dissolved solids, but suffice it to say that if you're brewing by any immersion method, please updose 9 grams per liter of water. So that would be 69 grams to a liter of water versus the 60 grams that you would normally use when brewing by a drip method. Today we're going to brew, I'm just going to be using 35 grams of coffee here for half a liter of water because I don't want to overfill my carafe, and so let's get going. So I've preheated the water, 200 degrees, just off a boil. What I do to start with is just pour a little bit of water in, just give it a swirl, just so that we can get all those coffee grounds wet, and then zero your scale, and I'm using the scale, I'm pouring right on the scale, so I'm going to dose in here 500 mils of water. Just pour it up. .500 mils of water and start the timer. So 4 minute steep time. So one of the things, obviously, we're probably going to cut here because you don't want to stand and watch me watch the pot for 4 minutes as it brews along. But one of the things that we'll do now is just let this sit, and at 2 minutes I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to stir and then sort of integrate the grounds back into the water to just enable more even extraction. So this is a really simple way to brew coffee at home. Again, all you need is, and it's a very cost-effective way of brewing coffee at home as well. We're talking about a press pot, which is anywhere from, you can get them all over the place now, anywhere from 20 to 40, 50 bucks, depending on how big you want to go. A basic kitchen scale, any kitchen timer will do, and some great coffee. And again, when we're talking about the coffee, that's probably, it's one of the most important ingredients, along with the water. Again, filtered water. Reminder to you, please invest in a Brita filter, and just make it enables your coffee to taste that much better. And then again, the reason for freshly roasted coffee is what we're attempting to do here, and what the whole point of this is to trap the volatile aromatics that are coming off that fresh ground coffee and bring them into a liquid state along with the dissolved solids, so that when you're drinking this coffee, your tongue is not the only thing at work. Your nose, your olfactory bulb is also engaged in the process, and is going to give you that much of a better of an experience when it comes to the coffee. All right, so we're at 2 minutes, and so I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir, incorporate this, and then essentially what we're going to do is at 4 minutes, we're going to press this down. So I'll come back to you once this is done. All right, so we're about ready here. We're at about 10 seconds. So again, pour the water, zero your scale, pour your dose, let steep, at 2 minutes, give it a stir, and then after 4 minutes, you're basically just going to push this down, trap the grounds to the bottom, and you're good to go. Now, one of the things that you're going to find when you're brewing on a French press is that the mouthfeel of the coffee is significantly different than that of if you're used to drinking with a drip brewer. And personally, I find the mouthfeel a little bit too silty for my taste. So one of the things that you can do actually to trap some of the oils in the water and some of the more really fine coffee fines actually is pour this through a rinsed filter. Paper filter, and you'll find that you'll get a much cleaner mouthfeel as well. So that's a personal preference. If I'm drinking a French press, I actually prefer it filtered. And so, but anyways, that's really as simple as it gets. And so, yeah, one more way of brewing coffee at home in a way that hopefully will make your drinking of it that much more enjoyable. All right, well, until next time, remember, drink less more often. Cheers.